Welcome to the Market Historian. I break down how wealth actually works by studying the patterns that shaped civilizations. Today, how ancient empires got rich without banks, stock markets, or even paper money. Let's get into it. No banks, no stock exchanges, no credit cards. So how did ancient empires build massive wealth, fund huge armies, and control vast territories? The answer isn't what most people think. It wasn't luck. It wasn't just conquest. It was systems, deliberate economic strategies that still shape how power and money work today. Here's what they figured out that most people miss. Ancient empires didn't start randomly. They emerged where geography gave them an edge. Mesopotamia had the Tigris and Euphrates. Egypt had the Nile. China had the Yellow River. India had the Indus Valley. Fertile land, reliable water. That meant food surpluses. And food surpluses changed everything. Not everyone had to farm anymore. Some people became soldiers. Others became traders, builders, administrators. This division of labor was the first step toward economic complexity. As populations grew, villages became cities. Cities became kingdoms. Kingdoms became empires. And empires needed systems to manage it: whole laws, record-keeping, taxation. Writing itself developed partly to track economic activity. Taxes, trade, storage. The bureaucracy came first, then the culture. So how did they actually build wealth? Let me break it down. First, agricultural surplus. If you could grow more food than you needed, you had power. Rulers collected taxes in grain. They stored it, redistributed it during famines, fed armies with it, traded it for other goods. Egypt's a perfect example. The Nile flooded predictably every year. Stable harvests meant Egyptian rulers could plan decades ahead, building temples, irrigation systems, massive projects that strengthened the economy even more. But food production was just the beginning. The real power came from centralized taxation. Ancient taxes weren't paid in money. They were paid in crops, labor, or raw materials. This gave rulers direct control over real resources. They could mobilize huge workforces instantly. Roads, walls, public buildings, all built with taxed labor, not wages. From an economic standpoint, this concentrated wealth at the top. Resources didn't spread throughout society. They flowed to the ruling class and the state. Then there's something even more interesting. Some empires got rich not by producing things, but by controlling the routes where things moved. Persia controlled the road networks connecting Asia, the Middle East, and Europe. The Royal Road made long-distance trade faster and safer, which meant more merchants paying Persian tolls and taxes. Rome dominated Mediterranean trade. Grain from Egypt, olive oil from Spain, luxury goods from Asia. Every transaction generated revenue. Position mattered more than production. Another strategy: control scarce resources: gold, silver, salt, iron, silk. China guarded silk production methods for centuries. High demand everywhere. Limited supply controlled by one state. That's leverage. Eventually, the secret leaked to Byzantium around the 6th century, but for a long time, China had a monopoly on one of the most valuable commodities in the world. And of course, there's military power. Wealth funded armies. Armies protected wealth and seized more of it. Conquests brought land, resources, and populations that could be taxed. But here's the catch. Conquest alone wasn't enough. If you couldn't manage what you conquered, it became a money pit. Rome grew incredibly wealthy during expansion. But when expansion stopped, maintaining the empire got expensive. The imbalance between costs and revenue became a serious problem. Winning territory is one thing. Keeping it profitable is another. Now here's what most people overlook. Behind every rich empire was a bureaucracy. Professional record keepers tracked harvests, populations, tax obligations, legal systems, protected property and contracts. Standardized weights and measures made trade easier. Some empires introduced coinage to simplify taxation and military payroll. Here's what matters: institutional trust. When people believed their property was protected, they invested effort. When trade rules were clear, commerce grew. Trust in systems created as much wealth as physical resources. But let's be clear about something. This wealth wasn't shared. A small elite controlled almost everything. Slavery and forced labor were common. Social mobility was rare. That cheap labor enabled massive projects and large-scale agriculture. But it also created fragility. When too many people lived at subsistence level, societies became vulnerable to famine, disease, unrest, invasion. Extreme inequality made wealth unstable. So what does this mean now? We live in a completely different world, but the patterns are still visible. Trade routes, control, now it's shipping lanes, digital infrastructure, financial networks, resource monopolies. Think oil, rare earth minerals, cutting-edge technology, institutional trust, still the foundation of economic strength. Countries with stable systems accumulate wealth more reliably than those without. And here's the lesson history keeps teaching: wealth alone doesn't guarantee permanence. Powerful empires declined from combinations of economic strain, political instability, environmental shocks, and external pressure. The mix varied, but the outcome was the same. Systems matter. Administration matters. Trust matters. Geography matters. And inequality creates risk. Here's the bottom line. Ancient empires built wealth through agriculture, trade, taxation, resource control, and organization, not by accident, not just by conquest. By building systems that managed people, land, and goods at scale, modern economies look different. But the fundamentals: production, trade, institutions, trust remain surprisingly consistent. Wealth is built on structure, not luck, on systems, not shortcuts, on long-term thinking, not quick wins. That was true 3,000 years ago, is true now. If you found this useful, subscribe to The Market Historian. I publish new videos every week breaking down how wealth and power actually work, using history to understand the present. Next video: how ancient trade routes compare to modern supply chains, and what happens when they break. Drop a comment and let me know what historical topic you want covered next. Thanks for watching.